Uno, due, tre, quattro, cinque. Hey, come stai? Oh, I was speaking Italian. Everybody, Wellness Week Live. Magnus, PhD in biochem. Me, I am a DJ. And today's show, poo poo. That's right. How's your poop? How's your poop schedule? How's it going with that? Because guess what? It's our body's way of telling us if we're healthy or sick. So I know it's very, very funny. Ha ha ha, poop, poop, poop. But it's a serious matter. It's not a joking matter. So, and very few people want to talk about this. And I said to myself, Magnus, you know what? We need to talk about poop because it's important and our body's way of giving us a kind of a mini physical every morning or every afternoon, or every night. So, by the way, we're two friends talking. We're not giving any medical advice. Always talk and check with your healthcare professional about this stuff because, again, we're just chit-chatting about our health and stuff like that. Okay, so always check with your healthcare professional. All right, now, Magnus, I hesitate to ask you, how's your poop doing? But, okay, so here's the problem. I think, aside from the jokes, poop is our body's way of letting us know, like, are we healthy or not? And I always think to myself, and I don't know that I think we take poop for granted. I think like it's just something you do and you move on about your day. But I think if we care to, look, it can tell us a lot about our health very, very quickly. Like, for instance, obviously, if you have diarrhea, we know, there's a problem there. You might be sick or have food poisoning or whatever. But there's a lot. What's that?
Same thing. Constipation.
Right. If you can't poop or you're pooping very hard or you're struggling, that is your body's telling you something. And that could be a disease or it could just be maybe you had too much fiber and not enough water. So I think we take for granted this stuff. And so, what is a healthy poop? What is a healthy pattern? When should we go? You hear all this stuff, right? I don't know if you've ever heard these commercials, but in America, it's every other day. It's like, you have 95 tons of poop in your colon. You have all this, congested poop up in there. You need to buy these pills. Like, it's like, oh, here we go. Like not everybody's John Wayne. There's always this story about John Wayne, the former actor, that he had, 35 pounds of impacted poop. Okay, I'm not John Wayne, so we have to kind of, parse out like what is, real and what is, someone trying to sell something. And yes, there's people who have impacted poop, it makes me laugh because it's like, and they'll be like, toxic poop. Well, yeah, poop is toxic. What are you talking about? So my thing is like, okay, so how often should someone poop? I mean, should you poop once a day, 5 times a day, once a week? I would say, generally speaking, if you poop once a day, that's probably healthy. I know some people that poop twice a day. Okay, I would say still, depending on that it's a normal poop. We'll get into normal in a bit. Even if I would say there are doctors who would say even if you poop once every other day, probably okay. Once every 3 days, you're pushing it, but okay. But I think most doctors would say, Magnus, you have a PhD in biochem, you would probably agree that average and normal is really representative of the person. There's not a one size fits all, but I think bookends, there's a problem. If you're pooing 7 times a day, that's bad. And if you're pooing once a month, that's bad. I would say there's a general malleable normal, and that's either twice a day to maybe once every 3 days would be maybe the tail end of like what.
Then you're pushing it.
Yeah, you should probably be once, and then we have to talk about, well, what is a normal poop? I mean, if you're pooping a tiny marble once every 3 days or once a day of tiny marble, that's not healthy. There's something wrong there, But if you're putting out Slurpee diarrhea every day too, I'm talking about patterns now, not once in your life, but that's probably bad. So normal poop, I looked it up. They said that should be essentially, and I'm not trying to joke around here, but you're laying cable. You're making a cable. It's a smooth cylinder, elongated snake of sorts, relatively speaking, smooth. That is a healthy poop once a day, generally speaking. But
you should use it. I mean, it comes down to they used to say that you should have one healthy bowel movement a day.
Right.
When we're and it should be like your poop should be easily to pass, right, and kind of earthy smelling. So it's the same thing. If your poop smells horrendously bad, that is also an indication of something is going on, right?
Right.
Same thing with color. We definitely don't want any blood in that is a big no. So if you have any issues with that, go to the doctor straight away.
Now I want to talk about the blood for a second, because people think blood red, but again, I'm not a doctor, but I would say, generally speaking, if you see red blood, I know all blood is red, but if you're seeing red blood, that could mean possibly, a hemorrhoid or a tear somewhere, micro tear at your anus, not deep in the colon. Now, if the blood was pitch black, like ebony black, that could be blood, but from all the way up in the colon or somewhere deeper, which I would say, generally speaking, that's a lot worse of a problem than you had a quick little hemorrhoid. Now, again, to your point, if you don't know, but you see blood, and I would look for a pattern, and blood is relative. It's a tiny speck of blood, that's one thing. But if you're like gushing blood down there, like, yeah, you might want to go to the doctor. So, but again, this is our body's way. Once we get past the jokes, it's valuable to look.
Here's an interesting part. Do you know why poop is brown?
Okay, hold on. I think I know. It's funny because I think I read this once before, but poop is brown. I'm gonna guess it has something to do with bacteria. No, okay, go ahead, hit me, PhD.
It's actually basically old red blood cells that are coming out. So that's why it's so. So that's the thing that you were saying. Is like if it's extremely dark, that means that it's a lot of usually dead red blood cells that are coming out, right? Which is bad. Or that if it's red and you're bleeding, that's also bad. I mean, it should be a like brownish color, not too light. So it shouldn't be white or anything like that, and it shouldn't be like tar black either. So
yeah, I also want to talk about, and I hate this, I know it's funny, but the size, shape, and it really matter too. Like if you're crapping a pencil thin poop as a pattern, not once off, you got a big problem more than likely. So, and if you're pooping soft serve ice cream all the time, you got a problem. You might check with your doctor. Go to your GP or your gastroenterologist. But yeah, that's our body's way of letting us know. And you talked about smell, which is interesting. Obviously all shit smells, but there's smell and then there's smell. It's like if you're like, whoa, a corpse just came out of my ass. Like, again, patterns. If that was always happening, I would be a little worried. If it was a one-off and you had, some food that, whatever. What are you gonna say?
Yeah. No, I mean it's the same thing. So a wonderful thing that I read several years ago, a guy named Paul Chek, tremendous. When talking about health and things like that, a lot of people can think that he's a little bit like hippie or out of there, but he basically had something called the Poopy Policeman, where he talks about like how poop and health are connected, and we're talking about like the usual suspect. He has a lineup about, and it's called, like, I actually have it down there, the sinker and the stinker, the swimmer, the bodybuilder, pellet man, diarrhea, the flasher, and of course the Poopy Policeman. It's such a good, like, if you read through it and you're having an issue with your digestion and like that, perfect summary on what could be the issue. Of course, like you should always go to the doctor if it's a reoccurring issue, right?
Yeah.
But he kind of points out what the issues could be, like your food patterns and so on. So
yeah, I want to touch on that too. By the way, folks, the viewers, I'm not saying, look, the ideal poop is cable. It's a snake of, a nice, like, it's not a pencil, but it's a like cable, right?
It should have a little bit of volume.
Correct. But if you don't have that, I wouldn't freak out either. If it's kind of like little marbles clumped together in a poop, okay, fine. There's a range of normal. The ideal is that cable type of thing. But yeah, like I said, if you're having diarrhea or you're doing one little pebble every 2 days or one little pebble every day, that's something to maybe keep an eye on and talk to your doctor. By the way, also, like you said, like if you're constipated and you're straining and you're really straining to poop and you do get a healthy poop out, but you're straining, that means you're not getting enough fiber and water, more than likely. You're not getting enough exercise either. And I'm not saying run a marathon, but, your poop, an ideal poop should come out without even really trying. It should just slip right out of the body, generally speaking. You shouldn't have to fight for this. Like, it shouldn't be like,
Can I add an important thing here too?
Yeah.
It's actually how we poop. So our system is kind of built for us to squat down while we're
Correct.
pooping and not sitting down. So when we're sitting down, we're basically trying to poop it in uphill.
Yeah.
So that's another thing. So if you have issues with it, you can buy these little kind of stools, whatever.
I bought one, Squatty Potty, bro.
Squatty Potty, exactly.
Yo, it makes a big difference. The Squatty Potty
does. It does.
One of the best inventions ever. It's a plastic nothing. It goes a little stool, no pun intended. But I mean,
yeah, and you see that throughout a lot of all countries in the world, like you're actually squatting down and pooping in a hole, right?
Right.
So it's just, I mean, and that is actually more natural than sitting down on the porcelain god, right?
Yeah.
So
but again, like it also comes down to right, proper intake of hydration and water and fiber. If you're eating a lot of bread, pasta, bagels, pizza,
processed fat and processed
fried
carbs,
this, fried that. Good luck, man. You're going to be fighting for that poop every day. Like you got to get the vegetables, the water, the fiber, the hydration, getting up, moving. Again, don't run a marathon, but getting up and walking an hour a day. This is going to help you poop easier, healthier poops. I would also say, and I know this is going to be funny, but when you wipe your butt, check what's on that toilet paper because it could tell you you're sick. It could tell you you're healthy. It's again our body's way of just, hey, it's really like checking the oil in the car. The poop is kind of an oil. You take a quick look at the toilet paper. Oh damn, I didn't know I was bleeding or whatever.
And a couple of other things. It could also show if you have a lot of like semi-undigested like food pieces in there that you're not chewing your food well enough, and that you might be intolerant or like to certain things. Again, like people might think that we're crazy. Like actually look at your poop. That's a good recommendation. I mean, I talk to that often with my a lot of my clients, is that's one of the best way of getting biofeedback on digestive system, how our bodies are functioning and things like that. Yep. And also if you have issues with this, one thing of trying to get things going besides drinking coffee and stuff like that is doing like yoga, like doing the twists and turns and things like that. Helps usually the whole like getting your bowel movement going too.
100%. Yeah, and caffeine, coffee can help. Now I got to be honest, like I was a big coffee drinker for years. I stopped now. I drink decaf, but I fell into a trap though. I couldn't go number 2 unless I drank coffee. Yeah. And that's not good. Like I was depending on this as my laxative, and so I got off it, not because of that reason. I got off it because it was making me jittery, but now it's more normalized. Like I don't need something to make me go. I make sure I'm, again, eating right, vegetables and fruits and water and walking and moving. But to your point, exercising, whatever, yoga, these things matter. So, same thing with urination. This is not the urination show, it's the poo-poo show, but urination can tell you a lot too by just looking at the urine in the bowl. I mean, okay, this or that. So it's our body's way. You're getting a mini free checkup. Why not look? Your health is important, and you might see something. Oh wow, let me go talk to my doctor. Okay, so let's cut the shit. Hey, so Magnus, was there anything else that you wanted to talk about before we?
No, again, this has something with our society is kind of that it's we shouldn't talk about this, that it's kind of it's super private and no, dude, like it's the same thing. I mean, if you have kids, you wipe more butts than you can think of. If you have dogs, you should be picking up your dog's food and you should be shaking your dog's poop too. So just trying to relax and like. It's an okay topic and conversation to have, I mean, it's nothing bad.
Yeah. But again, it's taboo and it's dirty, but it's our body's way of telling us if we're healthy or not. And by the way, I also wanted to just add, if you're 45 years old, maximum 50, but 45 is the new year of one's life to get a colonoscopy. And there's some articles out there that talk about, colonoscopies might not be that. No. Colonoscopies are dead on the best thing to detect colon cancer or any kind of problem, and do it. Don't do it. It's not, I've had one. I did a whole show about it. Literally zero pain. And it's definitely a thing that can save your life or prevent a lot of problems. So if you're 45 minimum, or maybe you have to go even sooner if you have family history and other things. But if you're 45, get the colonoscopy. Don't go past 50. You're playing with fire. But yeah, get the Hershey Highway, the poop highway checked. Anyway, so that's that. Thanks everybody. Magnus, anything else before we sign off?
No, I think we went through it. But again, like, don't be afraid.
Yeah, let us know how your poop. Hey, let us know how your poop is. How's your mierda? Huh?
Why not?
Que putze merda. All right. Anyways.
All right, guys. Thanks,
guys. Check back in. More great shows. Woo, smells in here. Hey, my dog's here. Rocky, you shit in the phone. Okay, I gotta go, man. All right, later, guys. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.